The accusation hit the dinner table like a grenade. My sister-in-law slammed her glass down and said, "Why do you keep ignoring your wife, Tyler?" I didn't raise my voice. I just answered, "Because she's not my wife anymore. She's been sleeping with your husband." Silence. Forks froze midair. Somebody's kid stopped chewing. And then I did the one thing they never thought I'd do. I opened my phone, tapped one button, and sent one email to the entire family, and to half the company, with every receipt attached. Then I leaned back and said to my wife, calm as a heartbeat monitor, "Your boyfriend just got fired. And the account you two were hiding money in? It's frozen." That's when her face changed. Not anger. Not denial. Pure panic. Because she realized something in that moment, I wasn't ignoring her. I was building a case. My name is Tyler Grant. I'm 33. My wife, Brianna, is 31. We'd been together 6 years, married for 4. And for most of that time, I genuinely thought I got lucky. Brianna was sharp, ambitious, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make people listen without raising her voice. I used to admire that. Until I realized there's a difference between ambition and being willing to step on anyone who's in your way, including your own husband. That Friday night, I was sitting on the couch staring at the clock. 9:07 p.m. We had a reservation at 7 o'clock. There was a bouquet of white tulips in a vase by the window because apparently I'm still the kind of guy who believes in romance, even when it makes me look stupid. Her phone had been going straight to voicemail all evening. At 8:45, she texted, "In a meeting. Can't talk. On our anniversary." Of course, the meeting had a name. Logan. Logan Mercer. Her boss. Her mentor. And also, technically, my brother-in-law, because he was married to her older sister, Danielle. Everybody loved Logan at family events. He was charming in that polished way. Always laughing, always shaking hands, always telling stories that made him sound like the smartest guy in the room. And lately, he'd been attached to my wife's schedule like a parasite. When she finally came home, it wasn't a normal entrance. Her leather purse hit the entry bench with a hard thud. She didn't look at the flowers. Didn't look at me. She kicked off her heels by the door like someone else was supposed to clean up after her. Then she walked toward the kitchen and said, without turning around, "Don't start." I stood up. Kept my voice level. "It's our anniversary." She laughed, sharp and dismissive, like I'd said something childish. Logan buried me in quarter-end revisions. "I don't need your emotional blackmail on top of it." The words came out too smooth. Too practiced. Like she'd rehearsed them in the car. That's when my stomach went cold. Because nobody gets that defensive unless there's something to defend. The next 3 days were ice. No yelling. No apologies. Just Brianna repeating the same new version of reality. "You're overreacting. You don't support my career. You're making drama out of nothing." Meanwhile, her routine changed. Gym days got random. Work trips started appearing last minute. Logan's name popped up constantly. And her phone? Always face down. Like a habit. Like she'd been trained. I didn't chase. I didn't beg. I watched. Because chasing gives them space to lie. Watching forces the truth to surface. Monday night, she called me at 11:43 p.m. Her voice was careful, controlled. "I'm staying late at the office. Audit week. Logan needs everything ready for the morning." I could hear it. The echo of a parking garage in the background. Empty. The kind of empty that doesn't happen in a busy office at midnight. I said one sentence, "I'm coming to get you." Immediate panic. "What? No. That's ridiculous. I'll be out in 20 minutes. You're being controlling." I didn't argue. I just repeated, 20 minutes. And hung up. I drove downtown and parked across from her building where I could see the entrance. Her SUV was right there, hazard lights on in a tow zone like whoever parked it didn't care. I sat there longer than I want to admit, thinking maybe I was about to embarrass myself over nothing. Then at 12:17 a.m., the glass door opened. Brianna stepped out without a coat, hair twisted up in that messy bun she does when someone's been running their hands through it all day. She stared at her phone like it was the only thing that mattered. And then Logan walked out behind her. Not an employee walk. Not a boss walk. A familiar walk. Like he belonged beside her. They stopped under the lights, talking too close, too long. He touched her shoulder. She didn't flinch. Then she saw my car. And her whole body locked up. Good. Let her know I was watching. The silence that hurt more than fighting. She climbed into the passenger seat and snapped, "I told you I didn't need a ride. This is embarrassing." I didn't look at her. Seatbelt. She buckled it hard and turned to stare out the window like I was her driver, not her husband. The silence between us wasn't tired. It was loaded. She kept waiting for me to ask the question. To give her the opening to lie. I didn't. I drove her home in complete silence. Because uncertainty makes liars unravel. The next morning, I dropped her off again at 8:05 a.m. She got out without saying a word. Didn't look back. Like I was just a convenience. And right as I was about to drive off, a young woman stepped out of the building and flagged me down. Professional clothes. Nervous eyes. Hands shaking slightly. She leaned in and asked quietly, "Are you Brianna Grant's husband?" My throat tightened. I nodded. She didn't relax. "Can you prove it? I need to make sure you're really him before I say anything else." That's when I knew, this wasn't just suspicion anymore. This was evidence. And someone had decided I deserved to know. I didn't answer her right away. Not because I was shocked. Because I was measuring her. Her posture was stiff, like someone bracing for impact. Her eyes kept flicking toward the glass doors behind her, like she expected someone to come running out. She wasn't curious. She was scared. I pulled my wallet out and showed her my ID, then a photo of Brianna and me from my mom's birthday last year. She glanced at it for half a second, then nodded fast. "Okay," she whispered. "Then we can talk, but not here." "Where?" She looked past me toward the corner. "There's a coffee shop across the street. Sit near the back. And don't follow me right away." I raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Her jaw tightened. "Because if anyone sees me talking to you, my job is done. And not in a good way." Then she turned and walked off like we'd never spoken. 2 minutes later, I walked in. She'd already picked a table behind a large plant, clear view of the entrance, like she'd done this before. I bought a black coffee and sat down across from her. She didn't waste time on small talk. "My name is Kelsey Harper," she said. "I work in building security." That explained how she moved like someone who knew where cameras were. She slid her phone onto the table but didn't let go of it. Her fingers were tight around the edges. "I shouldn't be doing this," she whispered. "Then don't." Her eyes snapped up at me. I didn't say it cruelly. I said it flat. Because I needed to know if she was serious. She swallowed. "I can't keep watching it happen. Not again." "Watching what happen?" Her thumb hovered over the screen like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Then she pressed play. The footage was grainy, night mode. A conference room. Dim lights. A timestamp in the corner, 11:42 p.m., Monday. Brianna stood near the table, flipping through printed slides like she was pretending to work. Then the door opened. Logan Mercer walked in. No words. No hesitation. He moved like he owned the space. And then, like it was normal, he put his hand on her waist. Not accidental. Not friendly. The kind of touch you do when you've done it 100 times. Brianna turned toward him and didn't step back. She leaned in. They kissed. Not rushed. Not nervous. Familiar. Routine. Like this was part of their schedule. My coffee tasted like metal. I didn't flinch. Didn't react. I watched it once. Then I watched it again. Then I looked at Kelsey and said the only question that mattered, "How long?" She exhaled hard. "A few months that I know of. Maybe longer." I nodded slowly. The part of me that should have been devastated was quiet. Because the truth doesn't always feel like a punch. Sometimes it feels like confirmation. Kelsey leaned forward. "It's not just your wife," she said. My eyes narrowed. "Go on." She hesitated, then said it anyway. "Logan does this. He picks women at work. He gives them special projects. Special hours. Makes them feel chosen. And if they don't play along?" Her mouth tightened. "He ruins them." I sat back. That's when the story stopped being about betrayal. And started being about power. Kelsey continued, voice shaky. "He tried it with me last year. I said no. 2 weeks later, my performance evaluation tanked. I was moved off a good rotation and put on late-night shifts." She looked down, embarrassed. "I started documenting after that. For protection." I stared at the phone. Then I asked, "Does anyone else know?" She gave a humorless laugh. "People suspect. But nobody touches it. He's a rainmaker. And, he's married to Danielle." There it was. The family connection. The reason everyone pretends not to see. I nodded once. "Send me everything." Kelsey blinked. "What?" "Everything you have. Every clip. Every log. Every timestamp." Her eyes widened. "If I send you this and it comes out, they'll come after me." I didn't sugarcoat it. "Yes." Her throat bobbed. I continued, "So we do this right. You'll use a private email, not your work one. You'll send it to an address I'm about to create. Then you'll delete the account and you won't talk to anyone about this meeting." She stared at me like she didn't expect me to be calm. Most people would have been shaking. Crying. Planning revenge with their emotions. But I wasn't in my feelings. I was in logistics. Kelsey slowly reached into her purse and pulled out a small USB drive. There's more, she whispered. Screenshots of calendar blocks labeled audit, but it's always just him and her. Expense approvals. After hours badge access logs. I took the drive and slid it into my pocket. Then I looked her dead in the eye. Kelsey, why are you doing this? Her lips trembled. Because I've seen 3 women get destroyed in that company. 1 quit. 1 transferred. 1 signed an NDA so strict she couldn't even warn the next person. She inhaled like she was about to cry but refused to. I decided someone had to break the cycle. I left the coffee shop and sat in my car for a full minute without turning the engine on. Then I did what I always do when something big happens. I made a list. Not emotional. Strategic. Step 1, separation. I removed Brianna as my emergency contact at work. Replaced it with my brother. Step 2, protection. I pulled my passport, birth certificate, and all important documents from the home office and locked them in a fireproof box. Step 3, money. I opened my banking app and stopped the automatic transfers to the joint savings that Brianna managed. No argument. No announcement. Just, done. Because I wasn't about to fund my own humiliation. That night, after Brianna went to shower, I sat at the kitchen table and downloaded 6 months of statements. I didn't look for love letters. I looked for patterns. Restaurant charges labeled client development on nights she claimed she was stuck at work. Hotel, business travel, charges during weekends. Mileage reimbursements that didn't match locations. Then I cross-checked her photo metadata from social media. Because people post without thinking. And GPS doesn't lie. By 3 a.m., I had a spreadsheet that made my stomach turn. Not just cheating. Fraud. Systematic. Approved. Covered. At 3:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Brianna, even though she was upstairs. I'm exhausted. Don't start drama tomorrow. I can't deal with you. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed 1 sentence back, no worries. Sleep well. Because she thought my silence meant weakness. She had no idea it meant I'd already decided how this would end. I was ready. Brianna left early, dressed sharper than usual. New blazer. Hair done. The version of her that used to impress me. She kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong. Chicago trip this weekend, she said casually. Strategy session. I didn't look up from my coffee. Have fun. She paused, just a second too long, waiting for questions. I gave her none. The door closed. That's when the clock started. At 9:12 a.m., I parked in front of a brick building downtown, old law office, slow elevator, walls that smelled like paper and burnt coffee. My attorney, Howard Blake, was in his late 60s. Round glasses. Calm voice. The kind of man who'd seen every version of betrayal and never dramatized any of it. He listened. Not interrupting. Not reacting. I didn't tell him a sad story. I gave him data. Dates. Charges. Badge access logs. Expense fraud. The video. When I finished, he leaned back and said 1 sentence, "This isn't emotional misconduct. This is corporate liability." I nodded. That's what I thought. He pulled a yellow legal pad toward him. What's your end goal? I didn't hesitate. A clean divorce. Financial protection. And consequences that go beyond my marriage. He studied me. Then he smiled, just slightly. Then we don't go through HR. We go above them. Howard explained it like chess. Logan Mercer controlled partners. Partners controlled silence. But shareholders? Insurance carriers? Audit committees? They hated surprises. We send 2 packets, Howard said. 1 to the shareholder oversight committee. 1 to the firm's professional liability insurer. I raised an eyebrow. Why the insurer? He tapped the desk. Because they don't protect people. They protect money. Then he slid another document toward me. And this goes out with them. I read the header. Legal preservation order. My jaw tightened. Once this is served, Howard continued, any attempt to delete emails, modify records, or touch security footage becomes obstruction. I exhaled slowly. When? Monday. 7:30 a.m. Perfect. That afternoon, I went back to my office. I run logistics for a mid-sized distribution company. Not glamorous. Just efficient. My second-in-command, Connor, looked up as I walked in. Everything good? Executing a plan, I said. He nodded once. No questions. That's why I trusted him. I delegated my next week. Cleared my calendar. Locked down my systems. At home, I did the rest. Cancelled shared subscriptions. Removed her access to my cloud storage. Changed passwords. Not revenge. Preparation. I arrived at Logan and Danielle Mercer's house 8 minutes early. Suburban perfection. Stone exterior. Circular driveway. And there it was. Brianna's gray SUV. Parked like it belonged there. At exactly 8 p.m., the process server walked up the driveway. Clipboard. Suit. Calm. He rang the doorbell. Logan answered barefoot, wearing a polo, relaxed, until he saw the paperwork. Logan Mercer, the server said. You've been served. Logan's face went from confused, to pale, to panicked. He flipped the pages. That's when Brianna appeared behind him. Wine glass in hand. She leaned over his shoulder. And read. Her face drained of color. I stepped out of my car. Slow. Deliberate. Brianna saw me first. Her mouth opened. Ryan, what are you? Before she could finish, headlights lit the driveway. Danielle's car. She stepped out, travel bag in hand, confused. Why are you ignoring your wife? She snapped at Logan. I answered for him. Because she's sleeping with your husband. Silence. Real silence. Logan dropped the papers. They scattered across the porch. Danielle stared at Brianna. Then at Logan. Then back at Brianna. You told me you were in Chicago? Brianna tried to speak. Nothing came out. I pulled out my phone. Opened my email. One draft. Pre-written. Recipients, *shareholder committee * external counsel * liability insurer * internal audit * cc, personal counsel attachments, video, expense reports, access logs, timeline spreadsheet. I hit send. One click. 60 seconds. That's all it took. Danielle's hands started shaking as she scrolled through her phone. Sunday audits, she read aloud. Hotel charges on my points? Logan reached for her. She stepped back. Don't touch me. Neighbors' porch lights turned on. Phones came out. Brianna looked at me, desperate. You planned this. I didn't raise my voice. No, I said calmly. I documented it. That's when Logan whispered the word that told me everything. We're done. Monday morning didn't creep in. It hit. At 7:30 a.m., exactly as promised, the legal preservation order landed. Servers locked. Emails frozen. Access revoked. By 8:05, the firm's IT department was in full lockdown mode. By 8:30, outside counsel had taken over an entire conference floor. By 9 o'clock, no one was allowed to delete, forward, or even open certain files without logging it. Logan Mercer never made it to his office. He was pulled into a conference room before he even finished his coffee. At 9:42 a.m., an internal memo went out company-wide. Carefully worded. Legally sterile. Devastating if you knew how to read it. An executive has been placed on immediate administrative leave pending an external investigation into financial misconduct and conflicts of interest. No names. They didn't need names. Everyone already knew. At 10:11, a second memo followed. A senior manager has been removed from all projects effective immediately. That one was Brianna. She texted me at 10:14. Brianna, please. We need to talk. I didn't reply. At 10:20, her access badge stopped working. At 10:21, her company email locked. At 10:22, security escorted her out with a cardboard box. No shouting. No scene. Just consequences. At 12:03 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Ryan, a woman said, calm and precise. This is Karen Holt, external counsel for the insurance carrier. I listened. She continued, your documentation was thorough. I said nothing. We're expanding the investigation to include expense fraud, misuse of corporate funds, and retaliation against a protected witness. I already knew. You did the right thing, she added. This isn't going away for them. The call ended. Tuesday morning. Law office. No drama. No speeches. Brianna sat across from me, eyes hollow, hands clenched. Her lawyer barely looked up. The terms were clean. Separate finances. No spousal support. No leverage. She signed. Didn't argue. Didn't negotiate. Just signed. When it was done, she finally looked at me. They ruined me, she said quietly. I corrected her. You ruined yourself. That was the last sentence we ever exchanged. By Friday, Logan Mercer's name was everywhere it shouldn't be. Not headlines. Worse. Whispers. Insurance audits. Board reviews. Partner emails that started with, we need to talk. He resigned before he could be fired. Danielle filed for divorce the same day. She didn't call me. She didn't need to. Some betrayals explain themselves. A month later, Brianna showed up at my house. No makeup. No confidence. No designer anything. She stood on the porch like someone waiting for a verdict that had already been handed down. I lost everything, she said. I didn't open the door. No, I replied through it. You traded it. Silence. Then footsteps. She never came back. The firm survived. They always do. Logan took a job 3 states away, lower title, lower pay, quiet exit. Brianna found contract work. Temporary. No benefits. No future. As for me? My life got smaller. And clearer. No lies to track. No patterns to decode. No meetings disguised as betrayal. Just peace. And the certainty that when everything collapsed, I wasn't the one standing in the ruins.